Hi there, welcome back to Roving Gardens. Now we're making quite a blunt transition from a really hot, dry summer to a wet, windy, unsettled autumn. But that's not all bad, because the rain that we've been having is really kind of revitalising the garden for one last push as we get into autumn. And one thing that's actually really enjoyed the rain is cyclamen. Now I'm sitting in a drift of Cyclamen hederifolium, the ivy leaf cyclamen. And this you can see in this meadow area, which we've cut back. So we cut the meadow back in kind of August, and that's allowed space, room and light for the cyclamen to emerge. And as I said, with the rain, they're going to keep popping up now. So this drift of cyclamen will look amazing for about 2 or 3 months, right up until Christmas. So as I said, Cyclamen hederifolium, one of the most common varieties. There are 2 hardy varieties of cyclamen, not the tender varieties, which were sometimes sold as houseplants. The 2 hardy varieties that you'll find in your garden centres for outdoor sort of naturalising are Cyclamen hederifolium and Cyclamen coum. Cyclamen coum is very similar, same sort of flower, but it's got a kind of a paler, more mottled foliage. And when they've naturalised like this, they flower before the foliage. So the foliage is kind of dormant, the flowers will emerge bare, so that actually the flowers really do look amazing when they're just coming through, kind of uninterrupted by foliage and sort of mess. If you buy them in garden centres, often you'll find that they are sold in sort of leaf, so the flowers will sit above the foliage. That's because they're forced, kind of grown artificially, and to look good for you to buy them in the garden centre. But once you put them in the garden, the foliage will kind of emerge in the spring, die back, and then when you get into sort of September time, there'll be nothing there, and then all of a sudden these lovely flowers will emerge, and they'll naturalise, they'll self-seed, they'll proliferate, and they're a really good option sort of for a woodland area, and just prolongs that season of interest. You can grow them in pots and kind of autumn displays, and they're hardy. A lot of people don't think they're hardy, but they are. They form big tubers. I've got an example of a tuber here. So this is Cyclamen hederifolium, the ivy leaf cyclamen, and these tubers get huge, a bit like begonias. So if you can keep them in the ground, and you can lift them up, move them about, and fill up a space relatively quickly. As I said, they self-seed and they proliferate. So if you let them establish, it's a really good way to fill up sort of a dark, dingy corner in the autumn.